Me, 32 male, and my best friend Alex, 32 male, have been friends since diapers. We're basically family. After college we both moved back home so we could live at home and get our feet underneath us. Alex started dating Stella, 35F, a lovely girl, around 4-5 years ago, and from the get-go she seemed to politely dislike me. Oh well, c'est la vie. Alex and Stella moved across the country in 2021 after Stella earned a promotion at work. In 2022 Alex proposed, she said yes, and they set a wedding date for the end of September 2023. I got a save the date card at the beginning of the year, and based on the conversations I had with Alex assumed I would be in the wedding party, either as a groomsman or the best man, but never received any official confirmation from either of them. Couple months before the wedding I saw that wedding invitations had gone out on social media, and figured mine was en route. It never came. I waited a couple weeks, figured it might have just gotten lost in the mail, before I checked in with him. I called Alex and had a brief conversation with him where he was clearly agitated and said he was dealing with a lot, would be incommunicado for the near future, to direct any wedding related questions to Stella, and he'd called me when things cooled off. I called, texted, and emailed Stella several times over the course of a week but she didn't respond to any of them. At this point I figured I wouldn't be attending the wedding, and that things were really fucked up for some reason between the two of us. Yesterday, a little over 3 weeks after our last conversation, Alex DM'd asking if I was free to chat. I jumped at the opportunity to get some answers, and after exchanging pleasantries Alex jumped right into a spiel saying that he knew I was super busy with work and dealing with a lot of personal stuff but he'd love it if it could attend his wedding, even just as a guest, and wanted to know if there was anything he could do to help make that happen. I just blurted out that I'd love to but hadn't received an invitation. Alex stared blankly at me and said what? And I just kinda verbal vomited out that I hadn't received an invitation. That was the reason I'd called him a few weeks ago, that I'd contacted Stella about it but she never got back to me and left me on read, and that I had not idea what he was talking about me dealing with too much to be involved in the wedding. After a very pregnant pause, he said he needed to go sort things out, and that he'd call me when it was done. My phone's blowing TF up since with wedding attendees asking me WTF happened and why the wedding might be off now. My girlfriend has reaffirmed to me that I did nothing wrong, but I've had people from all sides saying I stuck my nose where it didn't belong, and caused a stink, which is really fucking with my head. Ida? Edit. After he'd me we switched to video chat, meant to include that whoops edit too. My girlfriend is also having way too much with this and is kindly giving me shit for doubting myself. Update 1. Alex and I texted Tuesday night/Wednesday morning. He said he was handling stuff and asked if it'd be free to talk Thursday afternoon with him and Stella, which I agreed to. This is just a rough summary, and I probably forgot some stuff. Frankly, I'm too mentally fried to weave a narrative RN, so it's just gonna be bullet points. A couple of pieces of info about Alex to provide some context. Alex was raised fairly sheltered and religious until he was 18, when he went to college and opened. As a result he still has some, blind spots about certain things. Alex has mild to moderate OCD. It's managed with low levels of medication and maintenance therapy, which is one of the reasons he gets overwhelmed easily, especially from unexpected stressors, and weddings are chock full of say. Now for the actual update. The wedding, it's still happening. I will be the best man, and I've been read in on all the shit I need to do. The person who was filling in for me, Matthew, 34M, one of mine and Alex's good friends who's also neurodivergent, is thrilled to not have spent the day peopling, and can instead party his ass off. As a result of this clusterfuck, Alex/Stella/whoever parents are paying for the wedding will be comping me plus GF's plane tickets and hotel stay and my best man tux. What was the main driver of this mess in the first place? Stella's pregnant, yay. They found out a couple days after the wedding invites got sent out. Apparently they were passively trying, then actively trying in 2022, but stopped and swapped back to heavy BC once the save dates went out because Stella did not want to be pregnant on her wedding day. This led to several changes to the wedding, threw a bunch of other planning into disarray, sent Alex into an OCD hole for a couple weeks, which is why he was agitated when I called him and why he needed time to get his head around it all and get the intrusive thoughts managed. And one of the reasons why Stella ignored/missed my messages/calls. Why did Stella not respond to my messages? Besides surprise pregnancy, Stella said that she's on her phone for work a ton, and gets hundreds, if not thousands of emails/texts/calls per day. She misses some stuff, especially since she didn't have my contact info saved, lol. I also emailed her work email instead of personal email, which I don't have, and my own personal email handle is not my name. In future I was told to be more insistent in my communication with her to break through her everyday noise. Duly noted. What happened to my invite? Stella claims that she sent me one but must have sent it to my old address. I did move in March to my current residence and the save the dates were sent out in January. What did Stella tell Alex about me and not being in the wedding? Apparently nothing. According to Stella, he either 1, believed one of his intrusive thoughts was real when he was in his OCD hole, 2, he got confused when she told him one of her cousins with a similar sounding name to mine wouldn't be attending, or 3, some combination thereof. According to Stella, she always wanted me in the wedding. Why did Stella not contact me after I did an RSVP back? She assumed there was something going with me and Alex and that we'd sort it out and he'd tell her. In the meantime she was busy with work, wedding planning, and unexpected baby. How did a bunch of wedding guests find out about this mess? Alex called his mom for advice after our convo. Mom had church friends over. Church ladies overheard a good chunk of their convo. Church ladies are gossipy fucks. Alex has spent a decent chunk of time the last couple days putting out fires, so to speak. After about an hour, Stella left to go deal with some wedding stuff and me and Alex chatted about shit for a couple hours. Do I believe Stella's explanations? Kinda. The baby's real as far as I know, confirmed by medical professional. She does have a cousin I know she's close with who has a similar sounding name to me, and she does work from her phone a lot, but the rest of it just seems a little too convenient, and I feel like I'm left with more questions than answers. Good news is since I'm in the wedding I should have great access to figure out WTF is going on, I hope. _ new posting Valp, it's been a while, sorry y'all for taking so long to get this update out, been absolutely swamped at work putting out fires with my hair on fire for the last 6-ish month, so here the Cliff Notes version of the wedding and some post-wedding shit. Lead up was boring, shittin' of emailing back and forth between me, Stella, other wedding people, venues, vendors, etc. Me and Alex had some pretty deep conversations over the week and reaffirmed the importance of our continued friendship. Shit was really fucking awkward the first night we were there for dinner especially considering both Alex's stepsister Sam, 32F, and Stella younger sister and Mo Diana, 29F, were already staying there. We stayed at an Airbnb within walking distance of Alex's house. I went into event work mode pretty quick and that smoothed things out right quick and put Stella at ease. I spent most of the lead up to the wedding either at the ceremony/reception site doing liaison/setup, gaffing, running cables, setting up monitors, hanging and focusing, building shit etc., or running around picking shit/people/shitty people up with Sam. My GF, Alice, 29F, was kinda miffed about the whole thing. She's never worked a wedding before, just attended, so she expected it to be like 50% working 50% vacation, when it ended up being more likely 90% me working and 10% vacation. She spent most of her time helping Alex out with wedding support related shit or gaming on my laptop when she gassed out or got too overwhelmed. Wedding was a fun mess, tons of unrelated drama. Stella sure knows how to design a beautiful ceremony and plan a fucking party. I'll give her credit for that. Didn't get to enjoy much of it since I was working the wedding with a few other people in the wedding party more than attending, but c'est la vie. Ceremony took fucking forever though, felt terrible for all the bridesmaid who had to wear heels through that shit. Unfortunately there was no gotcha moment or come to Jesus mount where I caught the full story as to why SHTMFF, but based on what I observed while working the wedding I think I've been able to piece together roughly what went down. I think this had more to do with Stella's parents Ken and Karen, 60s, than her, although she still doesn't like me. My main reasoning: Ken and Karen were paying for the majority of the wedding, more than Stella, Alex, and Alex's parent combined. Alex and Stella sketched out pretty early what they wanted the wedding to look like. Throughout the process Stella made several significant changes out of the proverbial blue X. They originally agreed on a smaller wedding, something like 50 to 60 people, then one day Stella wanted a bias wedding. Alex didn't really care all that much. San just figured she changed her mind. He just somehow missed that most of these changes occurred after Stella either had a phone call or in-person meeting with her parents, which is on brand for him. Her parents were very standoffish towards me, to be expected, feelings mutual, and made a lot of, frankly weird comments about Stella's younger, totally not a cokehead, brother Chase, 23M, oftentimes in comparisons between us that flattered him, and kept insisting he was perfect best man material. Alex has barely met Stella's parents, maybe a dozen times over the last 5 years. Every time they visit for the holidays Stella has them leave early for whatever reason and Stella rarely inmates calls with them. Stella acts really fucking weird around her parents. Around everyone else she's a badass modern woman, but around her parents she gets super meek. Her mom asked her to go drive to some specific store over an hour away to get her a specific food item in the middle of wedding planning shit, and she just did it without any protest and left the rest of the wedding party in a lurch. When she got back 3 hours later her mom took like 2 bites then threw it away. If I hadn't seen this shit with my own 2 eyes I wouldn't have believed it, it was that bizarre. Lots of other innocuous shit that individually means nothing but when combined together provide a decent amount of circumstantial evidence. So here's what I think happened, roughly. Ken and Karen wanted Chase to be the best man in the wedding. Alex really wanted me to be the best man. Rather than make a choice Stella appeased both parties telling them what they wanted to hear while making no actual decision. The long it went on the more complex the line got. When Alex had his breakdown Stella saw a way to get out from under her Gordian knot of lies by taking advantage of the crisis. Unfortunately for her Alex came to his senses before the wedding, started asking questions, and when push finally came to shove she chose her relationship over whatever the fuck is going with the family, much to their apparent chagrin. I have 2 main guesses here. 1. I swear, a lot. I tend to forget most people don't use the word fuck as a noun, verb, adjective, adverb, pronoun, preposition, conjunction, interjection, numeral, article, and determiner. Since I was working the wedding and I was on my best behavior and cut down on my swearing by a good 90%, which led me to noticing that any time swear, or anyone for that matter curses, Stella has a little grimace/cringe reaction. Stella herself also rarely curses, and if she does it's something pretty small like hell or damn it, followed by a quick apology. It's probably exacerbated by the fact that in spite of my generally unprofessional behavior I hold a fairly professional job. The dissonance can bother folks. 2. Politics, and before people freak out, I'm somewhere between a democratic socialist and socialist on the political spectrum. I am a far cry from conservative, but for Stella that's not far enough left, as from what I can tell she's either a tanky or tanky adjacent. This has been more or less confirmed to me based on her social media engagement relating to the major geopolitical events of the last 6 months or so. Probably exacerbated by the fact that my job involves working in geopolitics, so I am parts of the repressive imperialist Western system. And as it turns out, I'm not the only person in the wedding who isn't super fond of Stella. Found my flock, so to speak. Alex and Stella had a healthy baby girl, named Iris. Me and Sam are the godparents. Me and Alex have been talking a lot more, for whatever reason he has. KS me for childcare tips, like bruh, I'm just as lost as you hear, and have set up a weekly gaming sash where we're slowly slogging through BG3 with Sam and Matthew. As far as I know, Alex and Stella are in couples counseling, which seems to be helping from my vantage point. Stella was weirdly against it, but Alex pushed for it so he could be a better husband to her, and she relented. As far as I know, Stella's already back at work and on most of her pre-baby schedule. Alex's stepsister Sam has been checking in on them periodically, and according to her there's no major red flags. ATM Stella actually texts/emails me stuff now. It's mostly baby pictures, but it's a step in the right direction and I appreciate it. I send cat pictures in response. Now on to second story. Confronted my girlfriend's narcissistic father about his control, banning me from their home, leaving our relationship on shaky ground. I, 23 male, have been dating a girl for about a year and 3 months now. When we first got together she warned me that her parents, mainly her father, is a bit crazy. Boy was she right. When we first got together everything was good, no issues with them, and I heard good things back from her that her parents liked me. Her dad is a very straight and arrow type of guy. His way or the highway. He has a lot of control over her, she has a curfew and is not allowed to stay over whatsoever. Don't even think about it. Which I can somewhat respect considering she still lives at home etc. She's not allowed to attend any of the weekend trips that me and my family go on, even though her parents are invited to them as well. There was one instance where he did say yes that she could go on one camping trip with me and my family. What a fuck up. We were lying in bed at night about to go to bed. We have very limited service where we are, so text messages and phone calls kinda come when they want to. She gets a text message from her mother saying to call her ASAP etc. We blast out to the road to try and gain some better service for a phone call. She reaches her mother and her mother tells her that she is here to pick her up. We passed by her on the way out but didn't clue in that it was her. We meet up with her mother and she says that her father sent her up here to get her. We are about 5 hours from home, so here we are thinking something terrible has happened for her to drive 5 hours to come get her, only to find out that he just wants her home and regrets saying yes to her going. We stood there and talked for roughly 2 hours and her mother insulted me multiple times for reasons as dumb as the genre of music I like. Let me remind you, her parents were invited on this trip but chose to stay home. They both end up staying with me and my family for the night. Her mother waking up and leaving before the sun rose due to fear of embarrassment. She goes home later that weekend to find that her mother is in trouble with her father because she went up there and tried to get my girlfriend to come home, which would then go against his word that she could go. Then my girlfriend was also in trouble for not listening to her mother. Sounds crazy, right? Just wait. Her mother has always been nice to me, making me coffees and sending me home with leftovers etc. Her father has always been nice to me as well, even though he always has something to say behind my back to my girlfriend for something as small as the vehicle I drive isn't a high quality long lasting Toyota. Just recently for family day I invited her family up to my father's house to go aving. Something I have done on a few occasions but they have never taken me up on my offer. This time they did. The morning of when they were supposed to come, her dad says he isn't feeling well. Which is fine, no pressure. He ends up saying he's going to pass but that her mom can still go and he will load the ATVs for her and she and my girlfriend can go together. So the ATVs are loaded, trucks packed, they're ready to leave. At the last minute he says to her that this isn't a good idea because she's never towed this specific trailer with this truck. She's been driving big trucks and trailers for over 30 years. They owned a landscaping company together. She ends up starting to second guess herself and ends up bailing too, but she still decides to come up and she will just ride one of our machines. The day goes by, we have an amazing day and she goes home to find him in a fit of rage that she went without him and all this other stuff from past experiences with her. Nothing bad, she's a very good wife and mother, he's just out to lunch. He ends up kicking her mother out for this and she goes and stays at a friend's house. Few days go by and she comes back and they talk. My girlfriend overhears them talking about me, mainly him yelling at her, and she's just listening. He tells her that she emotionally cheats on him with me because of how nice and helpful she is with me. The coffees, leftovers etc. Turns out he doesn't like that she's nice to me because I haven't put in the work. Not sure what that means, he can't even explain it himself. I have helped them around their house many times, from yard cleanup to cooking dinner and breakfast. This is getting to the point where he's mentally abusing all of us and he's playing mental gymnastics to get them to listen to him and go by what he says. No one's allowed an opinion or an option. He just recently said I'm not allowed at their place anymore, which is extremely hard on my girlfriend to do all of the driving. We live about an hour apart. In the past he's complained that I don't come down enough. Now I'm not allowed at all for next to no reason other than his wife is nice to me. They stopped sleeping in the same bed and he got mad at her for sleeping in the bed that I usually sleep in when I stay over there, saying that she's only sleeping in that bed because I did. He got so mad that he punched a hole in the door while she was trying to sleep. When they both listen to him and abide by his crazy rules, the house runs smooth. When they don't, it's like the sky is falling. There has been many instances like the ones I just explained over the years that my girlfriend has explained to me. Her mother has been kicked out over a dozen times for stuff as small as this. She's a battered woman. Everyone who she talks to is telling her to leave. Me, my family, her boss, her family, and even the women's shelter she called told her to leave. She won't, so I have gave up trying with her. She recently booked a trip for her and my girlfriend to go to England to see her mother. Her dad has a big fear of airplanes, so he does not fly. Over the whole family day situation, he made her cancel the trip to England, saying how if she didn't, then she didn't love him. I should also mention that my girlfriend mother's mother is currently being treated for cancer and she hasn't seen her in over 10 years. She does end up canceling the trip and my girlfriend is devastated over it. Rightfully so. Anyways, there's lots more to this. This is just a drop in the bucket, but that's the main juicy stuff. Things are okay between her and I, but she always seems to get sucked into his crazy narcissistic ways, saying she's a terrible daughter and that her mother is an idiot for letting her date me, etc. I recently offered to let her move in with me to escape this, but she seems hesitant to leave them. I'm not going to twist her arm that if she doesn't leave to stay with me that I'm going to break up with her, but I frankly want absolutely nothing to do with her family anymore, and that's not healthy for her or I don't think. I feel bad leaving her over her family stuff, but I have to deal with these people for the rest of my life and I just know I won't be able to do it. I feel lost and muddy on how to deal with this. I don't see us lasting much longer if she stays with her family, because I will not deal with their stupid small bullshit issues with me and her dating. Mainly her father, and her mother is just a spitting image of him due to reasons I have stated above. A lot of their marital issues are blamed on my girlfriend because her father is not approachable on anything, so her mother does it for her and that causes issues. Update 1. We also both really appreciate everyone's care and concern for my girlfriend's situation. It meant a lot to us both. I took everyone's advice and sat my girlfriend down for a chat before I made any permanent decisions. Despite being on Reddit asking about breaking up with her, I would actually like to keep her around. I did what a lot of you guys suggested and explained how I'm feeling with the situation with her parents and how much it puts on me. I told her how I don't see a happy future for either of us if things don't take a drastic change. I explained how when I look at my life the most stressful part is her parents and it shouldn't be that way. I also told her that I don't feel good brining my future kids into that situation and that my days shouldn't be spent worrying about her and her family constantly and waiting for the next big blow up. She was super upset that I was at the point of ending it with her. She reminded me of how she had me promise I wouldn't ditch her because of her parents, which made me feel very guilty. I told her I love her and I don't want to hurt her, but I also need to protect myself too. She said she understands that completely and it's along that same line of reasoning for why she wants to move out, that she loves her parents but has to protect herself. She apologized several times for letting it go this far and dragging me into it. I could tell she felt absolutely horrible, which made me feel horrible in return. Something must have finally flipped for her because she asked if the offer of moving in was still on the table and I told her it absolutely was. I asked her why she changed her mind and she said that she could never look at her parents the same for being the reason she lost a good guy who she loves and that she didn't want to go backwards anymore. So she moved out, told her dad where he could stuff it, and I'm happy to say we're unpacking her stuff and getting her settled in as I type this out. She has also agreed to severely limit contact with her parents, and any contact she shows us to have with them will have nothing to do with me and they will have no place in our lives as a couple unless we're both okay with it.